Hello, my name's Aaron Espindola.
Hi, I'm Linda OJ.
And welcome to another episode of the Next Gen Business Podcast.
Let's go.
The Next Gen Business Podcast is produced by the Small Business Community Network. Visit them online at www.sbcncanada.org.
So it's lovely to see you again, Aaron. Lovely sunny day.
Yep, it's really hot outside lately. I don't know if you were outside today, but I went for a trail walk with my friends, and it was so hot. I think it was like 26 degrees outside, so very hot.
No, sadly, we've got the long weekend coming, which I guess everybody gets a long weekend, or most people do, and then back to work for 4 days, and then we've got the week off to work in the garden the week after that, and 10 to 1 it'll be raining. You bet it'll be raining.
Yeah, I know. It's May 2-4, right? The May 2-4 weekend?
Yeah, the May 2-4 one, we're just having the regular long weekend, and then we go back to work for 4 days, and then is it the 31st or something, or the 1st of June? We've got 5 days off work to do the garden and tidy the garage. And so if it's raining, we'll just tidy the garage.
Yeah, it'd be good if it was raining, just because then people aren't going to be outside tempted to go with their crowds. That'll slow down the COVID spread.
I don't mind what it does the long weekend, really, because we're not doing special. But the week I'm on holiday with Dave to do the garden, I don't want it to rain. But I bet it will. So what are we talking about today, my dear?
So today I thought it'd be a really good topic. Because of your background in being a motivational speaker, I thought it'd be an amazing for you to talk to us about how you got started and how it's going so far, and maybe any tips or anything you want to tell our viewers or listeners if they're interested in being motivational speakers. Because I know when I was in high school, we always had motivational speakers come, whether it was business or just I think there's a photography one right now. They just come in and talk to us, and I always thought it was super cool, but I was really scared. So I wanted to see what you thought about it and how you started and all that.
Well, for those of you who are interested, it's easier now if you're, say, a TikTok person and you've become famous. It's easier to become any kind of professional speaker, really. So I started 20 years ago, and I'd actually gone back to school for a year to do an admin course. I wanted to be a secretary again. Basically, when I was there, I heard this motivational speaker, and I had never heard one before. And I said to him, how can I do that? And he goes, well, just do as many talks for free as possible. Now, 20 years ago, there weren't as many people wanting to be a motivational speaker as there is today, so I got in nice and early. So a teacher at the school overheard me and said to me, would you like to do a presentation to the class, the health and wellness class? So I stood there talking about myself for an hour. It was amazing. And I went home and told Dave and the kids, and I said, I'm not going to be a secretary, I'm going to be a motivational speaker.
Well, that's awesome. How are you able to come up with your content? I'm sure you had to have a structure for it.
All those years ago, I didn't even think about that. That's a really good question. How did I come up with the structure? If you can imagine it, say you wanted to be a garage mechanic, and you saw a garage mechanic at work, you really wouldn't know what to do unless that person told you, would you? So nobody told me what to do. Well, I just thought you stand up there, you talk, get as many free talks as possible, and then you're rich and famous. So I didn't come to any schools in Guelph, but I did most of the talks across Waterloo region, Cambridge, Kitchener, and I did Conestoga College, I did the universities. And what that did, for those of the people who were interested, it helped me hone what I was doing good and what I was doing bad, if that makes sense. Have you ever heard a motivational speaker and they're either boring or get frazzled if they forget where they are with a PowerPoint or something?
Yeah, I've heard some that come in, just more or less speakers, especially if they're business, they're not enthusiastic as much. So it gets a little dry in some areas. So yeah, I have seen that.
I didn't think about what you did or anybody else did. I just thought about what I wanted to do and what I wanted to convey to the audience. And the girls in particular, around about your age or a bit younger, all these years ago, I had no brand. It's about pink and grey now. I didn't have any money for clothes. You know, I was really poor at that time. So the girls would say, I love your accent. Oh, I love your boots. I love your clothes. And I thought to myself, so it's something to do with my appearance and people liking the way I talk. But what about my presentations, right? And this is for free. So I'm going to tell everybody out there, it's harder today, even now, if you're a really unknown person. So you got to do a lot of free talks. So then I started giving out questionnaires. Has anybody done that when you've heard them speak? Giving out a questionnaire to the teacher to give to you, and you say, was the speaker good? Was the topic good?
No, every speaker that we've had, it's more or less the speaker comes up, talks to us, and then just leaves. Maybe talks to the teacher a little bit and then kind of leaves. Yeah, we don't really have questionnaires.
Well, I guess it was my profession. I guess these people are doing it, you know. It's funny, though, because I went to your school many times years ago, and the students would surround me and go, how much money do you make? You know, how easy is it? And I could never leave, even though, you know, it was nice being there. So cutting a long story short then, so not practice as if you're doing a speech. You don't need a script. Wherever you're going to talk about, if you don't know your topic, then you're not going to be any good. You don't need a PowerPoint. Do as many free talks as you can. So you can't do what I did all those years ago, because I think I've asked you this before. I used to type in Google. I used to type what presentations are out there on health and wellness at a conference, and do they need speakers? And then I think we went through this before. I said, do you know what a fax is? And he said, yeah, you know, a fax machine. And I had a fax machine in those days, and I would have to fill in a form, say what my topic was, send it off. So the word I'm looking for here, then and now, is perseverance, because if you don't persevere. So I did it the hard way. I think what made me really successful was building a brand, knowing what topic worked, and also persevering and not being sad or annoyed when somebody said no to me. And my first paid talk after leaving school was $1,500 to talk about myself for an hour. So I bet a lot of people would like that, wouldn't they?
Yeah, and I'm picking up too that you're very passionate about what you do. So I think for our listeners, you obviously have to be passionate, because if you're not, then it's not. You might be able to do it in the beginning a bit, but once you have like for example, you have to keep going in for free sometimes. If you don't have that passion behind it, you're just not going to be successful. So that's I guess it's really important to be passionate about what you're going to be talking about.
Yeah, if you're standing up there talking about different things, but you're not passionate about it, the audience will pick up on it and you'll get bored. Now, some speakers become complacent. I'm not going to name the speaker. It was quite some time ago. I really admired the guy. Had written books and everything. And Dave and I got a free tickets to go and see him at Bingaman's. And I kind of critique speakers now, even if they're rich and famous. And I was really disappointed with this one, because he'd been doing it so many years. It was as if, I really don't care, just buy my book. And he was boring. And I said to Dave, I'm never going to be like that. And also, say the conference wants a PowerPoint presentation of you, and the PowerPoint, the screen doesn't work or anything, you know, the computer doesn't work. If you can't make it up, because nobody knows whether you're telling the truth or not, if you can't make it up and remember it, then you're not going to be any good anyhow. So perseverance. Okay, networking really didn't help me get paid gigs, but it did help me become the social sweetheart who everybody really liked. Like, I've had paid gigs here locally, but they're smaller ones than, say, around the world. You know, the ones, say, I don't know, America, you know, England, places like that where they pay the really good bucks. And the other thing is, say you, for instance, Aaron, if you got up and told a story about how you started your business selling clothes, what would be the message that you want to leave with people?
Jeez, for me, I would just say that it has to be something that you're passionate about. That's kind of like the main thing. Just follow what you're like your heart wants to do. Kind of. It usually isn't wrong. Sometimes it'll take you the wrong way, but eventually, if you're passionate about what you do, then you can be picking up garbage and you'll have a blast doing it, right?
I love that. I really love that. But let's imagine you're asked to speak at Conestoga College about building a business, and they want to know how you built your brand. So obviously being positive comes into it, but there's a lot of other things. So I kind of tell them what I want to tell them 3 times, but in a different way. So for a start, whenever you're doing a presentation, the opening line has to catch their attention. I know when I used to go to some of the schools, the students were laying on the desk with their head in their hands and yawning and throwing paper at each other. And you think to yourself, even if one person in the audience is interested, you know, that person is important. So yeah, passion comes into it, but you can't really stick to one topic for the whole of your career because people will get bored. And secondly, your message can't always be the same because people will get bored. So in your case, what was it that started, made you think you wanted to start your own business?
For me, it's always just not wanting to have a cap over how much I want to make in my lifetime. I just want to be able to put in all the work that I want to put in and then be able to monetize that and get paid properly for what I do. The idea of working for yourself, just being your own boss and having a network of people to help you build something that you really like or really want to. And also, I always like businesses that make the world a better place. So it's always going to be something that challenges the status quo with the clothing brand. I'm trying to challenge the over-censorship issue. With the landscaping stuff, we're trying to build a more convenient way for all customers to order and not have to deal with multiple different subcontractors. They could all deal with it under one person, and we're just trying to kind of make it easier for people.
So I like when you said the non-censorship. I like that. It's very important with the way the world is going, and I think we discussed this in our last podcast, didn't we? So if you started with that sentence, that would really get people's attention. And then in some way, in the middle of the presentation, you repeat that, but with different words. Now that might sound odd, but basically you're making the same point about how you're going to change the world, but maybe you don't bring in the censorship. You would say, you want to change the world by maybe offering really affordable clothes. That's kind of the idea. So it's really the same thing. So again, it was really difficult for me because if you can imagine, I'd never been a professional speaker before, very shy. I'm still very shy. So my family thought, God, what is she doing? How can she do this? But when I get on a stage, I feel so confident. It's like now I'm just taking over the whole show because I love to talk.
How are you able to get over your shyness? For myself, I usually, when I go up to present, I get really nervous and I start getting all red and I just start hot. So to calm myself down, I just try to joke, I say a joke in the beginning, or I just smile or laugh. And then that usually calms me down. I usually take a couple deep breaths, but what do you do? What would you suggest?
I am always nervous, even now. And as you know, I've traveled the world speaking. I've had my own TV show. I've been doing podcasts for a long time. I am always nervous, and that's good because if you're not nervous, you become complacent. So I like the fact that you're nervous. But remember, once you've made your joke and you're getting on with your talk, the audience is yours. They are here to hear you. So basically, be yourself. Don't try and be anybody else. I love Toastmasters. Toastmasters are great. But I never wanted to be a Toastmaster because I don't want to be like everybody else. Toastmasters is good if you want to be a salesman. So you've got a great personality, you've got a great look and feel. So I think you would be really great, and nervousness is nothing to worry about.
Okay, so it's all about building a brand around your strengths, right? So making sure that you have you were saying the pink thing and having a social media account that has all the social sweetheart stuff.
Well, I didn't have that. I didn't have that all those years ago. So basically what I had to do, I went to the dollar store and I got blue cardboard, folders. And my logo is very colourful. It's 6 steps in building bricks. So Dave made me some labels. I stuck it on the side of the folder and I went to all the schools. Because remember, I was still doing this for free, but I wanted them to pass my information on to people who would pay me. So I went round all the schools leaving this blue folder with my logo on. And the reason I put it on the side of the folder, what do they call the people who do the talk, the people who book the presenters? They have people at the schools who phone people like me or email them saying, can you come and speak at our school? But I can't remember what they were called.
Like program coordinators?
Maybe. They have a drawer, which they pulled out and showed me, of all these light coloured folders which didn't stand out from the crowd. So they could always pick mine up easy so social media makes it easy to do that, but I couldn't do that, could I? Because there was no social media. I also got to know as many local businesses as possible and told them why I'd started as a motivational speaker. And it's a wonderful story, as you know. I'd had breast cancer twice and I was working 3 jobs and I almost lost my home. And then people can't say no to you. So if your story is good and it's true. So what I would advise to anybody out there today, look at other people or different ages who are being paid well. You like Tony Robbins. Did you mention Tony Robbins? Or is it someone else?
No, I think that was someone else. I'm not really familiar with Tony Robbins.
This is it, you see, because he's been an amazing speaker and trainer for years. Not my kind of person. And there were lots of others in my day. So what I would do, I would look at them and think, well, they're all men, you know. I don't want to be like them, but what are the women like? So I Googled all the women speakers in Toronto, and they all looked very well dressed, and they wore lots of jewellery, and they had lovely hair. But they were all kind of not like me, which was good. They were all kind of, you know, the same. And so, so what I would do in this day and age, whoever you really like on social media or in the movies or anywhere like that, I would look at how they present themselves on stage or on the TV, and I would make notes how that reflects your personality or how you want to be different to that person. But the clue here is, have you made it big on TikTok? Have you written a really good book? Are you really into health and wellness or, you know, talking about bullying? If you've got a good topic and you can wind a story around it, like our guest a couple of weeks ago, what was his name? The guy who works with autistic kids.
Oh, Michael Marino.
So he, with his story, should be getting on the stage and basically, you know, wowing the audience with his story. And basically, you know, that's one good example, because he's only a young guy, isn't he? He's got a great story. He's walking his talk. You know, brand isn't just about wearing pink. It's about your message. It's about how you treat people. But the thing is, it's a never-ending job, honestly. And now the pandemic has come. I'm not travelling anywhere. I'm not being paid to speak apart from, say, what you call an honorarium, which is not even half your fee. And I don't mind. I love helping people. Or I do free talks now. And I don't mind. I know I'll be back again one day. So if you in particular wanted to be a motivational speaker or a professional speaker, I would say, just do your homework, look at what other people are doing, see how you stand out from the crowd, and basically have I guess you only need a one-page website today. I've got a couple of websites, and have on there a page where the people who book you up to speak can go to your page, okay? Be prepared and be professional from day one. Make their life easy. So if I was going to book you to speak for one of my events, I'd want a photo. I'd want a bio. I'd want an overview of the talk. I want to know, you know, do you need a lapel microphone, or do you want a hander? Have all those on your speaker's page and make sure that they can contact you easily. And it's a cutthroat industry, and I found many years ago, if somebody emails you, normally the first person who emails them back and says yes is the person who gets the gig, because the person who's booking you just wants a speaker and they don't want to keep phoning lots of people. So also check your email if you've applied for any speaking gigs, because you might be the lucky one to get it. It sounds easy, doesn't it?
No, the opposite. It sounds very difficult. It definitely is a lot of work. From what I've gathered, a lot of work. So if any of our viewers are interested in doing that, it's not an easy route. It's definitely going to be a lot of time, effort, especially reaching out. And then I'm assuming it's like the same way with my business. We contact customers and we get a lot of no's or just a lot of people not responding. So I'm assuming it's a lot of rejection.
Not so much now, but in the early days, like I say, people would find me and come to me. And then the speakers bureau, I'm on a few speakers bureaus, so they will get the clients for you. And they take a small percentage, but that's okay. But to be honest, I've got most of my really good presentations myself. I've been on Twitter many, many years, and I don't know when it was, Dave would know, maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, this woman on Twitter says, can we talk privately? We need a speaker for... It was somewhere in America, I can't remember where now, on this topic, and we think you would fit the bill, you were recommended. And I go, that's not really my topic, but I'll look at it. And Dave says, yeah, why not? You know, so they pay for you to fly, they stay in a hotel, and they pay you to do the talk. And what I did, I made the topic, from my perspective, I think the topic was the digital revolution or something. It was exciting though, doing a completely different topic that I'd never done before and talking about how I'd approach the digital revolution. And I took it from the perspective of if you don't care about your customers because you've gone digital and have to press all these different buttons to get to somebody, you know, never forget the customer service and the aftercare. So I guess another tip is this one, you'll love this one. Think quickly, okay? Think quickly. So my first workshop, I don't know about now, because I didn't want to do workshops, I just wanted to stand on the stage. But I did a couple of workshops and they are hard work. So my first one, recommended. So I trots along and I'm not feeling very well. I had a cold. And this person said to me, we wanted to talk about team building for this reason. Never done a workshop, never done team building. And so my little brain's thinking, I go, you know, I don't think we should call it team building because people will feel offended. You know, the team's falling apart. Let's call it a vision for your team. Duh. How do I think of it? I don't know. And then I went home and I thought, I know nothing about this. So I went to the library because we didn't have social media then. And I found what I wanted to do. And Dave is just a sweetheart because my writing is terrible. And so, you know, the white paper that you flip back and you write on it for the audience. What's that called? Yeah. So if I'd have written on it, they wouldn't. So Dave ahead of time wrote my notes that, you know, then I could talk to them about. He's such a good help. You need someone to help you. And it was one of the best ones I've ever done. It was a workshop. It was relatively easy. And then I got referrals from that. So again, if you really think you can work it out, say yes and go home and work it out, because it's not rocket science, is it?
No. And at the worst case scenario, you get some experience, right? If it's something that you're not interested in doing, at least you know now. So definitely for any of our viewers listening, just pull the trigger, try it out, send some emails, make sure that's in the field that you want to talk about, and I guess build a brand around it. So you said that you were speaking about something and you weren't too familiar with it, but you decided to research it and put in your perspective, and that's something that was super unique. So
I always think about it from a simple perspective because I haven't been trained in it, and I'm not, you know, I didn't used to be in the corporate world, so I'm a people person. I think you are too. So I observe people. Yeah, and you know, when I worked in the shoe store, I hated it. I got badly treated, earned very bit of money, but customer service was my forte. And so a couple of years ago, I did lots of customer service gigs, and then, you know, what's the other one? The diversity, which we talked about, you know, the other day, you know, and there were so many things. Oh, and cleaning in a hotel, and you're invisible to the clients in the hotel, and you're cleaning their bedroom, you know. Never do a job for the money, you know. So I always tell the students this, and also women in particular. I don't know about our listeners, but I've been invited to some colleges sometimes to just women talks, and they've said that guys tend to hit on them in the business perspective. And no, I don't think a woman should change the way she dresses because guys are coming on to her. It is about being very professional in the sense of have maybe a folder or a laptop ready at the meeting, and say you're having a lunch together, and if the guy says something inappropriate, and what's inappropriate to you might not be to me, so I'm not going to give you an example. But if it makes the young lady or young woman uncomfortable at this business meeting, open the laptop, open the folder and say, well, we better get on, we want to get this business meeting out of the way. So it's a difficult one, but I don't think a woman or a man should dress in a certain way so that people don't, people think it's not appropriate. I think we should obviously dress appropriately for work, I've never spoken at a guys' conference about women coming onto them, though. Does that happen? Do you think that happens, Aaron?
I personally, I think it would happen. I think it'd be more like a good thing for guys who brag about that. Usually, we don't. It's because guys. I think I was watching this one video, and they were talking about how guys don't get complimented as much as girls do. So when they do get a compliment, they don't see it negative. They just see it as something that can make their whole day, and they usually hold on to that. So I feel like we take it a little bit different. And then also it's depending on what they say, obviously.
And most guys, I think it's most guys, I may be speaking out of turn, if they are complimenting a woman in a nice way and not just, flirting with her, I think we should be able to take the compliment. I offended my daughter a couple of years ago. Melissa, I love her to bits, but we're talking about this topic. And I said, in my day, we used to have to walk to the bus stop and wait at the bus stop to go to the office, and guys would whistle at you. And I never had anybody whistle at me. Melissa, well, that's rude, whistle at a woman. I go, well, in my day, it was a compliment. But nobody whistled at me. So again, even that is a topic for somebody to talk about, at a presentation. What some people find offensive, other people don't, and maybe sometimes it's funny, maybe sometimes it's not. But I guess my point is, don't try and be clever, you've got to have the scientific ones, you've got to have the ones that are all about figures and money and stuff like that. They present a purpose. I'm not one of those. I'm just one who tells stories. Storytelling is really a great way to go and capture your audience. And then I love it when somebody, a couple of years ago before COVID, would email me and say to me, you did a lovely presentation. You've really touched my heart, or you've really taught me something. And Dave used to like it when, say we're in a restaurant in Niagara Falls and somebody comes up to me and says, I was at your conference a couple of years ago. I bought your book. And Dave would say, she's famous. I don't think I'm famous in any way, but who doesn't want to be complimented? Who doesn't?
I always thought people were famous. When people come over to our school and do presentations, I was always like looking at them like, oh my God, they're so famous. Let me touch them. Maybe some of that fame can come on to me.
I used to love doing the schools. I really did. And I used to do the Conestoga Skills Contest, where they used to have to do certain things in front of the judges, and that's a really good way for me to meet other people who are judges who might want me to do a presentation.
Okay, yeah. So it's just putting yourself in situations where you can, like, maybe it's not like a direct motivational speech that you're going to be doing, it's something else, but it's always never closing a door, never opening. Well, what's that one quote? There's a quote out there. It's like never close the door to an opportunity or something.
Well, no, this is another. Honestly, I've got this far by looking at opportunities where other people miss them out. Now, an opportunity isn't if you said to me, Linda, give me $1,000, I'll make you famous. I wouldn't give you the thing. I can do it on my own, thank you. So where money's concerned, don't be taking in with these opportunities. But no, basically, I look. I was a member of the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers from just after a year after I started. It's a lot of money to join, but really you get a lot of mentoring and help and stuff like that. But I wasn't getting any of the paid talks. I was getting a lot of the freebies, and one of my mentors said to me, don't do that one, it's not worth it, it's another freebie. And I go, I want to give back, I don't just want to take money. And I got there and there was all these delegates and people who were like famous and nice to know, and they really liked me, and I thought, woo. And yes, I got some referrals out of it, but giving back will never be something that I want to stop doing. If you said to me, I've got no money from a conference, my admin would Google you. Now, it used to be my daughter. And if you paid somebody last year, why can't you pay me this year? But if you really can't pay, I'll do a freebie. And then the next step up is an honorarium, and then it's the proper fee. So, yeah, what I would say is anybody you know, it's a fun thing to do. Give it a try. And if you get paid for it, good. If not, you're doing a lot of good in the world.
Yeah, that's a really good message to leave our viewers and listeners. So that's solid.
I bet you wished you hadn't have asked me now, because I go, blah, 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 blah. I just love to talk.
Actually, I was very interested because I really like business stuff, and I have little brothers, so I always try to talk to them about it, and I just naturally always like helping younger kids, because for me, a big thing is kids. Like, I really like to help kids. I feel like they're our future, right? So being someone that just went through the school system, and I didn't really like it. It wasn't really geared for me. I wish I would have seen a bit more from entrepreneurs and some people to talk to me about business, so that I don't just go into the business world without knowing anything. And that's what I did. And then I realized, okay, I need to actually learn something. So I went to school, finished Conestoga. Well, I'm finishing Conestoga, but it would have been nice to have a speaker about that. So I was interested in that.
I think what you'd be good at, there's something called, I don't know if I'm getting the name right, Business Partnership of Waterloo Region or something. I can send you the link. And basically, you just sign up on the website to be one of the speakers, and then you could get called into the schools when they're back in operation again, or you could do a virtual talk. And you could talk about that topic, about how, you like helping younger kids realise what college really is about, or and I know the name of the lady, Julie Dressinger. She's absolutely lovely. I did that many, many years ago, for quite some years, and then my business took off and I was travelling all over the world, and I still managed to do a few, but I really love going to the schools and colleges. So you or anybody else listening, I tell you what we'll do, I'll get Dave to put the information on the podcast page, because they'd look for some more volunteers. And I think you'd be amazing, Aaron, and probably everybody out there would be amazing.
This past week, I actually, because I'm from Guelph. I don't know if any of our viewers know I'm from Guelph. So if you see me in Guelph, it's me or my twin brother. But there's a small business center, and they do like the whole summer program, like summer company. And when I was young, no one told me about it. I didn't know anything about that. I just went to the business center. Yeah. So I went there and they told me all about it. So I was like really interested in that. But it's just unfortunate that they don't, I'm not sure if they do it now, but when I was in school, they didn't really have anyone coming to the schools telling you, hey, the government wants to help young people that are wanting to become business people, entrepreneurs, pursue that. And why don't you come to the small business center, more or less, and help you out?
I know the one that I'm associated with in Kitchener at City Hall, they're still doing it if you want any information, because it could be different now, I don't know, but and again, they're all a bit different. You get a certain amount of money, $3,000 or $4,000, but I think you've got to be returning to school. So if you're not returning to school, then maybe it's not, but then there's another one for the next step. So again, it's the Waterloo Region Small Business Centre in Kitchener, and the person to contact is Rob Clement, and he's absolutely amazing. I used to go along to that summer company for quite some years and open it on a Saturday and talk about my journey into business, and it was absolutely amazing. It really was, because they're all, what age do they start at? Is it high school up to college?
Yeah, I think I want to say 16.
Oh, is it 16? Yeah, and they were amazing, the kids.
16, 17.
Have you heard me talk about Vidyard in the past? Vidyard, it's a video platform company. They're local to Kitchener. Okay, one of the co-founders of that now very successful company started off at the summer company. He went along there to do because it would help pay with his school costs while he was building his company. So that is a really good way to go. And even if you go along and say, I'm starting a business as a motivational speaker, they might say, we've been talking to Linda. How can we help? The things that will help you, though, is the marketing, the mentoring. I think you have to actually come up with a business, which would be difficult for a motivational speaker. But, yeah, that's a really good idea.
That's why I thought it was a good topic to talk about, because feel like there would be other people interested in maybe becoming a speaker as well, and just not knowing anything about that. Like speaking with you now, I know that you kind of have to have what you're going to be talking about. You have to have like an idea of what branding you want to put behind it. You want to build a rapport of customers that you did stuff for free and that they recommend you and all that. So,
and the reason I mention all those things is some people jump to the goalpost and get rejected early. So if you don't look like you're ready and you haven't got a story or a topic, who's going to book you? So basically, it's all about being ready. Even you, I'm sure you got a website ready before you started your business and you knew what clothes you were going to sell. Fingers crossed.
I'm one of those people that really wanted to make everything perfect, that I had to kind of stop doing that because it was never up to my standard. And that's one thing that stops a lot of entrepreneurs, is always thinking that it always has to be perfect. But just getting the wheels rolling is something that's really important, because then you work on all those things as it goes and see what kind of feedback your customers give you.
I think that's really good advice. Well, I'm sorry I've talked you all to death, but I actually haven't spoken for about now 3 months, apart from like I've got business consultants, I speak to them, but this felt like a little presentation.
Perfect. Honestly, a lot of our viewers are going to find all this information super helpful. So thank you a lot, Linda, for talking about this.
Well, thank you. You're an amazing co-host, and I guess you've just given me an idea for one of our topics in the coming weeks or months. We could find information between us about the summer company or other things that the government are offering for people who want to start their own business and share it on air, because they might not know where to look.
That'd be a perfect episode. And then for anyone that's listening or viewing, just make sure to check us out on our Instagram page at the Next Gen Business Podcast, and as well as our YouTube channel, which is the same username. And then I believe that's our website as well, correct? Like that's .com?
Okay. nextgenbusinesspodcast.com. I'm terrible. If anybody wants to know who Dave is, he's the guy who does all the clever bits in the background while we waffle on. So I guess I'm going to have to say goodbye from me.
And it's going to be a goodbye from me as well. Thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening. Check us out at www.nextgenbusinesspodcast.com.